Good evening. For those of you in the audience who have not attended one of these hearings recently, let me review our normal procedure. Staff will introduce each item for consideration. If you'd like to speak, please fill out the speaker form located on the table in the lobby and indicate the item number and whether you are for or against the item. Please give the form to the clerk seated on my left. The applicant and supporters will be heard first. Those in opposition to the request will be heard next. Then the applicant will be given a chance for rebuttal if necessary. Comments should be restricted to pertinent information regarding the agenda item under discussion. If you're an individual, you will have 3 minutes for comments. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, you will have 6 minutes for comments. Speakers should move closer to the podium when their item is being presented by staff. Speakers should identify themselves clearly for the record by stating their name and address. Each speaker should be given respectful and courteous attention. The board may ask questions of speakers or staff members. Information such as pictures, site plans, letters, etc., presented at a public hearing will be kept as part of the public record. If you have something on your cell phone that you would like to show us, we don't mind seeing it, but you're going to have to promise to send the information to the clerk afterwards, otherwise we have to keep your cell phone, and you probably don't want to give that to us. I will then ask for a motion from the board. Once the motion has been made and seconded, discussion will be closed to the floor. Following board discussion, a vote will be taken. During voting, board members who do not cast objecting votes are considered to have voted in support of the motion. Any person aggrieved by any decision of the Board of Adjustment may, within 15 days, file an appeal to the Board of County Commissioners through the Planning and Development Division of the Development Services Department. Okay, we're ready for our first item.
Angie Califer, Planning and Development. Item number 1 is a request for a side street east setback variance from 15 feet to 8 feet for a fence in the PD Plan Development District in the Retreat at Wekiva Phase 2 subdivision located at 4855 Rock Rose Loop. Subject property is a corner lot and considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Rock Rose Loop. The Equinox Circle side is where the variance is being sought. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility, and the proposed privacy fence will be 5 1/2 feet from the sidewalk and 18 feet from the edge of pavement. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Okay, do we have any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Angie, is this replacing an old fence or is this a new fence?
Their survey doesn't show that there is a fence on the survey, but it could be a replacement. We'd have to ask the applicant.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Good evening.
Hi.
Please state your name and address for the record.
It's Maria Arevalo, and I'm the contractor with On the Line Fence,
Okay?
600 Northern Way, Winter Springs, 32708.
All right. First thing, question for you. Is this a new fence or an
It
existing
is.
fence?
It is a new fence.
Okay.
Correct.
Is there anything you would like to tell us?
I guess for this particular lot, for my client, we're actually not coming like so close to the front corner. We're going to be starting the fence back 30 feet. So we kind of want to get a little bit on that side yard in case the client gets a pool at a later date to put pool equipment. And there are other fences in the neighborhood that have had variances and approvals coming even much closer to the front of the house and out to the side yards.
Okay, so there's nothing there yet. It's just for the future.
Yeah.
They may want to put something there.
Yeah, correct. It would be for a brand new vinyl fence. That's correct.
Okay. Any questions for applicant's representative? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, how long has the resident been the property owner for this address?
They actually are pretty new owners. They just moved in this year.
So I noticed that number 2 is the special. How is this a special condition? And it said that HOA, was approved, which that's fine and all, but it's not in line with what the customers told them buying the house. So was this a realtor thing? Realtor
This has
came in.
been happening and with, this has
We've been
been
seeing a lot of it too.
Yeah,
so.
I've actually come here before for other clients in some of these subdivisions. And when these clients are being sold these homes, I mean, they're literally being told, oh yeah, you can go right to the property line. And so they're like, oh, great, I have all this property I can enclose. And that's been happening a lot, especially like in the newer subdivisions, it's been happening a lot. And then the HOA approves it, so why wouldn't they think they can get it? So,
The Equinox circle that's behind you on that map right there, how busy of a stretch is that? Because that's the close-up version, of course, but how busy is that? Oh, thank you.
it's actually not very busy because it goes into a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
And in fact, his neighbor behind him is Seminole County Law Enforcement, and he was fine with it also, so he didn't have any issues with it.
That was my last question was,
Yeah.
where are the, because there was no indication, have they talked to neighbors?
They did, they have. And
Thank-
nobody had any, and actually, funny thing is that they're waiting to see if this gets approved because there's other neighbors in the neighborhood that are also gonna contract us to do variances for them based on, and nobody wants, because there have been variance approvals on corner lots there.
No, there hasn't, sorry.
According to,
No, sorry, I didn't mean to be so loud.
anyways, so this will be the first, and, yeah.
Yeah, just because a fence exists doesn't mean anybody has
Yeah,
it.
no, I gotcha.
Okay.
No, I completely
Thank you.
have you. Yep,
Happens all the time, as I'm sure you're aware.
yeah. No, thank you for that.
Sorry.
No, what we find too is that when the builders are building the houses, they do that and they're like, oh, it's part of it, it's okay. So.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, did you say you were going to start the fence 30 feet behind the corner of the
front corner,
house?
Yeah, so it's not gonna, so where the little circle is at, it's gonna start there. So we're not even starting the fence so far forward. It'll be like back more.
Yeah, we just need to figure out how far away from the sidewalk that
It's
we
30
want to
feet.
start this.
It's a 30-foot setback from the front corner.
Understood.
Oh, from the sidewalk?
No, I was just saying, we have to decide how close we want the
Oh,
fence to
gotcha,
be
gotcha.
to the sidewalk.
I understand.
Because you just told us you're going to send in the whole neighborhood next. So we're going to have
So
to have
in
a
my
consistent
experience,
number.
yeah, in my experience with talking to you guys in the past and having other variances approved, we've come to an agreement to do an 8-foot because that's one section. So we would even be happy with an 8-foot section. Not, a 10 foot off the house, an 8-foot section. If we can get approval for that, that would be awesome so we can put a gate there.
Any other questions for the applicant's representative? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? I have a speaker's form from Brian. Yes, come on down, sir.
So if you could put up the plat that shows the location again?
This one?
No, the one prior to that.
This one?
Right here. My concern is that, if you can see there's a...
Sir,
driveway-
before you start, I need you to state your name and
Oh, I'm
address for the
sorry.
record.
Brian Skultedy. I'm at 1508 Equinox Circle, so I'm within the circle
Okay.
area.
All right,
And let me show you what I'm talking about. The fence is going to come to here. This is a driveway where there is a high school student that rides his skateboard up and down. Coming down the street, you're not going to see this driveway till you're almost to here. And right next to this home is 3 toddlers that also come out of the driveway. I'd like to believe that everybody pays attention to speed limits. They don't. So quite often, the cars come down here very, very rapidly. My fear is, since this corner is going to be completely hidden, this driveway will be, you'll be unable to see it, and the next driveway. So if the children come out at the time that the car is coming down, there's a problem. That's my opposition.
okay. Let me ask you a question. Is there a certain distance off the sidewalk that you feel would be safe, or are you opposed to anything that goes beyond the setback?
Quite honestly, I don't know. I hadn't been asked that question, so I don't know what would be considered safe, but, I mean, if you can actually see it here, it comes right to the end of this driveway. So if he's coming out on a skateboard, the car's coming this way, he's not gonna see him until he's right there. And the next home, the 3 toddlers, they're up and down their driveways all the time.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second for discussion.
Do we have a second? Discussion?
I'm trying to figure out where we want to set the mark from the sidewalk.
But how far back off?
Right.
How far back off the front of the house?
Well, she volunteered 30 feet, so that's part of the motion, I assume.
Okay.
Since she volunteered, that was what she was requesting.
I just want to make sure it was specific so that later somebody else can't come in and it was never specific.
Right. So it's far enough from the road for me. The gentleman makes a point about line of sight for kids and skateboards.
Right now, it looks like we're 10 foot off the house, perpendicular to the road. She indicated she'd go down to 8 foot. That would be acceptable, you know, that was one of their compromises. I mean, that would provide an additional 2 foot, if I'm not mistaken. I know what you're looking for, that magic number to,
I'd like her to be able to put a gate in there, but I'd like to get that 2 feet too, if we can get it.
So what you're thinking, Steve, is something like, so 8 feet from the house and then 30 feet back from the corner, the front corner.
That's what I was thinking.
What do y'all think?
So that would change the variance request, instead of
Yes.
to the 8 feet, it would be 15 feet to 10 feet.
Right. It would shrink what we would be giving a lot less than what they initially asked for. Comments?
Are you okay with amending your motion?
I'm acceptable to amending it to, so that it would be, as it's shown, 30 foot from the front of the house, but an 8 foot offset from the house for the fence.
30 foot back from the front corner. And I'll withdraw my second on the first motion and second the second motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, it passes 4-1. All right, enjoy your fence. So you understand what we said?
Perfect.
30 feet from the front, back from the front corner, and only 8 feet off the house and not 16 feet or whatever it is requested.
Beautiful, thank you so much.
So a lot less obstruction to visibility.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, we're good with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, next item.
Item number 2 is a request for a side street north setback variance from 20 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence in the PD Plan Development District located in the Forest Oaks Village subdivision at 950 High Point Loop. The subject property is a corner lot and as such considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces High Point and Tall Oaks Terrace side is where the variance is being sought. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The proposed privacy fence will be 5 feet from the sidewalk and 15 feet from the edge of pavement. Have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation. We need the affidavit of posting for this applicant. She was supposed to come in prior to the meeting and have it notarized by Ashley, but we have not seen it yet.
Okay, is the applicant present? Is the applicant present? Do you have the affidavit she's requesting? Then we can't hear the item tonight. It'll have to be continued. It's a legal requirement that we have to prove that it was properly posted for the right amount of time. So when's the next meeting? Continue to the next meeting?
So moved.
That,
They're required to have a paper signed by you that states that the item has been properly posted in front of the property?
It is, yeah.
Okay, they need an affidavit signed by you. They're saying they asked for it and they haven't received it.
Kathy, are you okay if I print one out?
Do we have a notary?
I'm a notary.
We can have them at the end of the hearing.
Let's do this. Let's move this to the back of the hearing, and we'll take care of the affidavits that you need, and then we'll hear it.
And
Okay?
I'll go get them.
All right. Okay, we'll come back to this one. All right, next item.
Okay, item number 3. Let me get my work. Item number 3 is a request for a side street north setback variance from 25 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence in the R1A Single Family Dwelling District in the Laurel Wood Subdivision located at 2219 Driftwood Drive. The subject property is a corner lot considered to have 2 front yard setback for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Driftwood Drive, and the Ridge Road side is where the variance is being sought. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. And the proposed privacy fence will be 4.5 feet from the sidewalk and 12.5 feet from the edge of pavement. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Okay. How far from the sidewalk you say that is?
They said that it was going to be 12.5 feet,
From the
edge of pavement.
edge of pavement? I don't see a sidewalk on the side. Oh, maybe, I guess there is one on that
West
picture.
side.
It's the shadows
Oh,
covering
okay.
it.
I got you. Got you. Okay, any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Is this a replacement or a new fence?
A replacement. They have one indicated on their survey.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to add to staff comments? If there is, you just have to come up, identify yourself. Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Name is Angel Matos, 2219 Driftwood Drive. And the fence has been there for 40 years, give or take, and all I'm doing is replacing it.
Okay. And it looks like you have a structure just inside of it, like a shed or something?
Way to the right, top right-hand corner. On the left side, that's a tent.
Oh, okay.
It's not, it's just to put my tools and lawn care equipment, but that's it.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, sir.
Hey, have a good night.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve in a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck. Next item.
You can leave, yes?
Yes, you're good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to stay if you want to, but you don't have to.
Have a good day.
Item number 4 is a request for a front yard setback variance from 50 feet to 23.5 feet for a single-family dwelling in the A1 Agricultural District. The parcel is a parcel of record and predated the subdivision regulations, and the lot is within the community development target area called Midway, designated by Seminole County in order to promote new housing opportunities. The proposed single-family residence will be approximately 2,082 square feet and will encroach 26.5 feet into the required setback. And there have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and based on the stated findings, staff recommends approval for the request. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Sorry. And you just, on the survey, show that real quick. I know, just one of the questions I had was there's a note on there, this apparent right-of-way per occupation, which puts the right-of-way and what would be they're calling witness corners on that property line much closer to the house than the 23.9. Is there anything that's documented that we know of? Is that a right-of-way?
Yes. It's a very little, not paved right-of-way, but we've had several variances on the street for the same thing. But yes, that is their access.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, same problem, all very narrow lots. You can't fit a modern house onto them without a variance. Yep.
Nope, understood.
Okay, any other questions for staff?
Especially with ag zoning.
Is the applicant present?
This would be on
Is there anything you'd like
big
to add, sir?
parcels.
No, sir.
All right. Any questions for the applicant? Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? We have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve. We have a second from Mr. Hadaway. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. It's approved. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next item.
Item number 5 is a request for 1, a front yard setback variance from 50 feet to 30.5 feet, and 2, a side yard east setback variance from 10 feet to 1 foot for a detached garage in the A1 Agricultural District and the Chula Vista Subdivision located at 504 Enderby Place. The proposed detached garage will be used for storage of vintage cars and for personal use only. The garage will be 2,000 square feet and will encroach 19.5 feet into the required front yard setback and 9 feet into the required side yard east setback. One letter of support was received from the neighbor located at 505 Enderby Place, and I received a letter of opposition that I gave you all a copy of this evening. That property owner is located at 500 Enderby Place. When I spoke to the applicant owner today, he did say he was discussing this with his neighbor at that point while I had him on the phone, so we'll have to see if they came to a happy medium. But that concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay. Is the applicant present? Sir, is there anything you'd like to add? Sure, come on down. Please state your name and address for the record.
Todd Gable. Do you want this address or my actual current mailing?
Address where they reach you.
311 West Hayes Street, Tampa, Florida.
All right.
You have some photos. So where do we start, with the front or
Wherever
the
you'd
side?
like to tell us, sir.
Okay, so you can sort of see there in that photo that the thing off to the right there is a barn of sorts, and then the thing in the middle of the photo is like a 3-sided garage that's been on the property since, I believe, the latter 80s. Both of those structures are closer to the road than what I'm asking for a setback variance. The rear of the property, as it approaches the lake, slopes significantly down towards the water. So in order to put a building there without a variance, it requires a significant amount of fill to get the building level. Anyhow, that's the front yard setback. In asking for it to be where it is, it doesn't disturb any trees. We don't need to cut down any trees or anything like that. The side yard setback was just most optimal for me in terms, again, to try and keep it away from trees and that sort of thing. My neighbor, who I'd not had an opportunity to discuss it with at the time of application, we met and spoke about it today, and she's here with us, and we settled on 6 feet off the side lot line. Makes everybody happy. So if we can, if we can do that, if we can adjust it to 6 feet, like I said, it's the best place to put the building, so we don't have to add in a bunch of fill or cut any trees down.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak in support of the request? Okay. Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
Could you come on down, please? Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Michelle Schaefer, 500 Enderby Place, Chiliota, Florida.
Sure. And
I'm adjacent, and I was the one who wrote the letter in opposition, but my neighbor is correct. We got a chance to talk today. I was not comfortable with 1 foot at all, and we did talk about that I would be willing to do it to 6 feet, and he remarked it, and he was okay with that, and I'm okay with that. So,
Okay.
and I don't have a problem with the variance in the front, because
just aside.
that old building was there when I moved in 28 years ago, so.
I understand. Okay.
Okay,
Any questions? All right, thank you.
thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
can I ask a question to staff again real quick?
Absolutely.
Based on what the applicant and the neighbors kind of agreed to, that adjusting it to 6 foot, does that affect the front setback at all? Or are we encroaching? Does it cause any other issues for us that we have to look at?
No. They'd still have to meet that front yard setback. Just move it over to meet the 6 foot that they agreed on.
I was just looking at the rear, that 45-foot dimension that's on there. That's going to get smaller. I just want to make sure we don't have any rear setback on the water lines or anything we have to worry about?
As long as they meet 30 back there.
As long as we're 30? Okay. Thank you. No more questions.
Okay.
And you're looking for a motion?
Sure.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve with the change that the request is adjusted from a 1 foot side setback to a 6 foot side setback.
And the 50-foot setback on the front yard?
Can remain the same.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? Yep.
The motion is to adjust the front setback to the request.
The front would remain at 50. The side will go from 1
Well, the
foot to
front
6 feet. Am I backwards?
Yeah, I think the front set.
Front's at,
Third.
Front's at the request of the applicant, and the side setback is
right.
all that needs to be
Right, to
adjusted.
30. Right.
I just wanted to make sure because I heard 50.
Yeah, I was,
You're correct.
And he said he can't do it that
I
way
didn't
because
catch
of the fill issue and the tree
30 on the
issue.
front.
30 and a half.
6 on the, and a half, and 6 on the side.
Amended as such.
I've got it.
Okay. All in favor of the request, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries, it's granted at 6 feet on the side. Good luck to you.
Thank you. We can bring.
We resubmit a drawing and indicate what.
You'll still have to go through the county's permitting process.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item?
We have the affidavit for item number 2.
I'll get it last. We'll wait on 2.
Okay, well,
Right, yeah, we'll do it last.
okay, we have to affidavit
Okay,
now.
right. Okay. So item number 6.
Good evening. For the record, Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. Item number 6 is a variance request for 1933 Hewitt Lane, which is located in the Northgate Subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback reduction from 30 feet to 16 feet for an addition in the R1A zoning district. The request is to construct a 300 square foot covered screen room addition 14 feet into the 30-foot rear yard setback. The property abuts a county-owned drainage easement tract in the rear. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to add to the staff comments? Okay, do we have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, we have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Good luck to you, sir. It's approved. All right, item number 7.
Item number 7 is a variance request for 2627 Pinyon Pine Lane, which is located in the Cadence Park subdivision. The request is for a west side street setback reduction from 15 feet to 5 feet for a privacy fence in the Evergreen Plan development. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces north on Pinyon Pine Lane. The Monterey Cypress Trail side on the west is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct a 6-foot tan vinyl privacy fence 10 feet into the 15-foot side street setback. The proposed privacy fence is 5 feet from the sidewalk and 15 feet from the edge of pavement. The proposed privacy fence encroaches into a utility easement, and that building permitting will be required to meet the criteria for placement within a estoppel letter. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Hi,
Hi again.
welcome back. Please state your name and address again for the record.
Fence business is good.
And I'll be back next month again. Maria Aravallo with On the Line Fence, 600 Northern Way, Winter Springs, Florida, 32708.
Okay, what would you like to tell us?
For this particular one, I'm actually going all the way to the back corner on this one.
Okay,
Yeah, just right in front of the gutters. It's about 35 feet back. And we're asking for 10 feet, but we'll take 8 on this one too. And there's like, the neighbor that they back up to is a little bit different because there's like no driveway on that side. And it's kind of like at the end of the subdivision, almost. So 10 feet would be great. And this is a new subdivision also, which they were told that they could go right to the property line. Yeah.
any questions for the applicant's representative? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do you have a motion?
I make a motion to amend the request to 7 feet as opposed to 5 feet, as she offered.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion?
It's just, I'm not trying to gang up on her specifically, 'cause I know I voted no last time, but it just makes me nervous because it's setting up, I can't believe I'm going to say this now, but are you ready for this?
I can't either.
I know. But it's kind of setting the precedent. It's a new neighborhood, and this is what's going to happen is that it's going to start popping up. I can understand if it's old, the property bought it. It's not saying that the real estate brokers are doing, the real estate people are actually, they'll sell anything just to sell the lot and the property, but it just makes me nervous that, if we won, like she said, we'll see her next month. And it's one of the things that it's just going to keep.
There's some other fence there already too.
Yeah, well, it doesn't and as staff said, it doesn't mean it's permitted.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, he's all the way in the back of the subdivision.
So it should be at
On
the
this
lectern
particular one, I'm-
on the record? if we're taking evidence or testimony?
But, yeah, if you, well, actually, unless y'all have
This is- I'm just
specific
talking-
west
yeah.
and right, yeah, you're,
So it's just, like I said, and it's nothing against it, it's just I feel that we're gonna, it is literally a brand-new housing complex. So that's, it's not to pick on new housing and real estate, people should know better than that, than to promise what they can't deliver. But
I do have one question. Ma'am, you step forward for a moment?
And it's actually, just so you know, it's not even just the realtor, it's like the HOA is
Well,
approving it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Trust me, we get this. This is
all the
not-
time.
I'm sure.
Okay. When I look at, I know you're going all the way back, but where on the house is it starting? How far back from the back corner of the house?
It's 36 feet, so that side street, that side where it says 37, that's the wall of the house. We're literally going right to where that 15 mark is, all the way back.
You're starting on the corner?
Yeah, on the back corner,
of the house?
yeah.
Back corner.
The back corner, right?
Back corner of the house,
Yes.
not on the side of the house?
No.
Because our yellow line shows it on the side a little bit.
No, it is, so we want to go out, but we're pushing the fence all the way back, so we're not
I
like,
get you, but where the fence starts by the house, is it coming off the corner or is it coming off the side?
I put that, I think my admin actually, she drew that there, just, we're gonna go right to the back corner. There's like a gutter there with a French drain, so we're gonna come maybe like a foot in front of that. So it'll be at 36-foot setback is what it ends up being from the front corner.
I got you. And the width off of the house is for the purpose of a gate?
Yes, because on the opposite side is so tight, the spacing between the houses, and there's air conditioning units. So we're actually not even putting the gate on this side, we're just putting it on the sides, like on the side wall, on the side, the right side
Okay.
of the fence.
That answered
right.
my question, thank you.
Right, because of the gutters and all that other stuff.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
all right, thanks.
All right, so my thought, the reason I asked that is, I was thinking maybe the gate was going to go in facing the front of the house, and they were asking for that distance. But if the gate's going to be on the side of the house, there's no real reason it can't come flush off the corner of the house. I'd run straight back. Do you see what my point on that? There's nothing in the way. And normally people want to come out a little bit so they can put a gate there, but the gate's going to go on the side anyway. That's just my thought. All right,
Do we have a motion and a second?
we did.
Yep.
I think so.
Yes, we
I
did.
I know I made the motion, I don't know if it got
Yes.
seconded, did it?
He seconded.
I didn't.
Or Larry, sorry.
Okay.
What's the motion then? If we have one, I missed it.
It was to
I was
adjust,
so stunned by what he said, so
To adjust
Sorry,
it,
guys, I know I kind of threw y'all a curveball on that
it was
one.
to adjust it to
Was
7
it-
feet?
add 2 more feet,
Right.
and then we didn't specify where
Where it
the
starts.
fence starts.
No, and that's why I had the question, because I was
So
looking at the
I'll
drawing.
withdraw my motion if you'll withdraw your second, and we'll start again. Because I don't have a problem with it being at the corner.
So we're looking at no, at that point, there would be no side setback variance request.
No.
No, if he wants to make a new motion, he would like to, you to withdraw your second so he can make a difference.
No, I understand that process. I'm asking is that you're in favor of,
My motion, the only change in it is he's suggesting that it start at the back corner of the house.
Corner of the house, not the side like you see on the drawing.
which then doesn't require a variance.
Yeah, it's a side.
It's a side, not a front.
Maybe I'm just not picturing in my head graphically.
The drawing shows it coming off
Yeah, I
here.
understand, yep.
He's talking about straight across. Setback is here.
Oh, you're not talking this, you're not talking coming straight back from the
I'm
corner.
talking about, the drawing shows it coming
Yeah, I
forward on the
understand.
house, and I don't see any reason for it.
have a motion and a second there.
So, all right, well, let's do this. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say aye. Aye. Okay, that motion's dead. You have a new motion?
Same reduction in the side setback by 2 feet and the fence starting at the back corner of the house.
That corner of the house. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion?
I agree with Austin entirely, especially with this being a brand-new neighborhood. We, of course, nothing we do creates precedent, but there's a reality because neighbors talk and they see things.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries 3-2. So you've been granted the request, but it starts at the back corner of the house, and we brought it in 2 more feet. So the motion, or instead of, was it 5 feet?
7 feet?
It would be 7 feet,
7.
which goes in accordance with what you said your minimum amount you really needed was.
So, can I just say one thing?
But,
The reason.
well, it's over. It's over.
Well, we'll talk about it next one.
All right, there you go.
Thank you, guys, I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good night.
Number 8, and this one is confidential.
Item number 8 is a variance request for 2112 Eastbrook Boulevard, located in the Eastbrook Subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback reduction from 30 feet to 25 feet for an addition in the R1A zoning district. The request is to convert an existing covered patio into a 260 square foot screen room addition 5 feet into the 30-foot rear yard setback. The rear yard abuts a large soccer field for a seemingly abandoned YMCA. 2 letters of support have been received from the neighboring property owners. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you'd like to add? You don't have to talk, it's up to you.
No.
Do you have any questions for the applicant? Okay. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion to approve is second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, next item.
Item number 9 is a variance request for 211 Flamingo Drive, located in the Sunlit Estates subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback reduction from 30 feet to 10 feet for an accessory structure in the R1A zoning district. The request is to construct a 1,460 square foot detached garage 20 feet into the required 30-foot rear yard setback. 3 letters of support have been received from affected property owners. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present?
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to add, sir? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name's Craig Howarth, 211 Flamingo Drive in Sanford. Now, basically, the thing would fit if it wasn't for the utility lines running through the middle of my yard, and the plat book shows the utilities running over the rear property line with the utility setback off the property line. So at some point, they decided to run them differently, but that's the main reason I'm trying to shove it back that way a little, but that's about it. Is there any questions?
All right, any questions for the applicant?
Why didn't you make the utility company move the lines?
I thought that might be a lot of trouble.
I don't know. I think they built in an area that they were not allowed to, and
They probably did.
I think you could cause them some grief.
When you look at the plat book, you can see why they did it, but I figure getting them to move that's going to be a chore.
Troublemaker, don't
Don't worry about it. They'll move the lines, and then your electric bill in that area will go up accordingly.
Somehow somebody got up on the other street where they run through the yards, it goes right over a detached garage, so I don't know if somebody snuck it in or if they just put it over it, but any more questions?
Many years ago, I used to work for the power company, I've seen some stuff. Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? We have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 2.
Okay, one more time. Item number 2 is a request for a side street north setback variance from 20 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence in the PD Plan Development District located in the Forest Oaks Village subdivision at 950 High Point Loop. Subject property is a corner lot and considered to have 2 front yard setbacks for setback purposes. The front of the house faces High Point, and the Tall Oaks Terrace site is where the variance is being sought. Traffic engineering has no objection as it relates to the site, as it relates to site visibility, and the proposed privacy fence will be 5 feet from the sidewalk and 15 feet from the edge of pavement, and there have not been any prior variances for the subject property.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Replacement?
That's what I wanted to.
I don't see it on the survey.
You can ask the owner. Yes, sir. Mr. Cooper? You had a question?
It was his question.
Oh, okay. Great minds think alike. Okay.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. There is a fence, but they're going out a little bit more.
More.
Than,
Because that picture looks like a lot more than 5 feet.
Okay.
Okay.
that's what they put on there.
Okay, is the applicant present? Oh, yes. Come on down. I know we have at least one question for you. Doesn't matter, whoever you're most comfortable with. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Nenad Todorovic, and we live in 950 High Point Loop along with Laurel.
Okay, first of all, is there anything you would like to tell us about your request?
Well, we're replacing the old fence with a new vinyl, looking better and all that. So we're just expanding a little bit because other kids, my son, he played soccer, so I like keep him safe because the ball goes on the street, so I just try and avoid that.
Okay, and you're replacing an existing fence and just bringing it further over, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And why are you moving it over?
Because they're having a little bit more space on the back.
Okay. Okay, any questions for the applicant?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
just for point of clarification, the fence has a bend in it. I don't know, maybe we can see on the survey, but in the upper right corner, the fence bend comes from the rear, comes forward, goes back out to the street.
Yes.
Is that, I saw in the picture, was that could get around all those trees that were in the corner there?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was all I had. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved, sir. Good luck to you. All right, minutes, any additions, deletions, changes? Actually, they're not in there.
So there are none.
Yeah,
We will have next month's.
no problem.
We're going to be doubling up on you next month. We apologize.
Okay, you were playing with my mind anyway. I had 2 number 8s, so I confused myself.
I did too.
I'm like, all right, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, we're adjourned.